One question we're often asked by our owner investor clients when they own rental real estate is, if I decide to sell this, can I sell it with my tenant living in the property? And the answer is yes, but there are some caveats to that, some things you need to be aware of. So I want to offer you a couple pieces of guidance should you decide or consider to sell your rental property while your tenant is still living in the property. And the first piece of guidance is to know this, that a sales transaction, and this is specific to Colorado, but a sales transaction is subject to a lease agreement. So in other words, if you sell your property and there's a tenant in the property with a lease agreement on the property, you're not just selling your property, you're selling your tenant, you're selling your lease agreement. You cannot, as the landlord, come in and say, hey, Mr. Tenant, I know you're on a lease agreement, but get out of here, I decided to sell. No, even if you sell the property, the new landlord can't come in and say, hey, Mr. Tenant, get out of here, I'm the new landlord. They must honor all the terms and conditions of that lease agreement. So if you are sure you're going to be selling a property in the future, you may not want to tie yourself in as the current landlord to a long-term lease that prohibits you to selling with that tenant in place. Now, if the tenant is in place, there are some benefits actually of selling a property with the tenant in place. And a couple of those benefits, number one, is you've got no make-ready costs. You don't have to move a tenant out and go in and do new carpet and new paint and fix this and repair that. You can just sell it to a new landlord, a new investor client with that tenant in place. So you're saving money on those turnover or on those make-ready costs that you would have to incur if you were selling what is typically a vacant property. The other benefit of that is you've got no holding costs. Because if you move your tenant out of the property, well, you're going to have a period of time before the new buyer purchases the property when the property is sitting vacant. And during that period of time, you're going to have some expenses. You're going to have utilities, you're going to have insurance, you're going to have to pay to have the lawn mowed. All of those things are going to be regular costs that you incur whether or not the property is vacant or occupied. So that's a reason to keep it, ideally, keep a tenant in place. Because now the tenant's in place, there's no vacancy, there's no maintenance being done, and it just moves right from you with the tenant in place where you're getting rent on one particular day to the next day, it's gone. It's not yours. You get your sales proceeds and you leave happy. Now there are some costs. There's some downsides of doing it. And one of those is there's going to be fewer buyers. If you're selling a property with a tenant in place, well, you're selling to an investor. There are fewer investor buyers than there are owner occupied. So the market potential for you to sell is going to be a little bit smaller. There's still a lot of investors right now. It's a great market. There's a lot of investor buyers out there. But there's going to be fewer as compared to the number of homeowner occupied buyers. Secondly, as something to be aware of as a negative, is you need tenant cooperation. You see, imagine you're a tenant, and imagine that landlord comes to you and says, hey, Mr. Tenant, good news, you can stay in the property, but I'm selling it. You're going to have a new landlord in the property. Tenant's not going to be real happy with that because they just don't like that. They don't like change. So you need their cooperation because there's going to be a lot of showings on the property. And if you're that tenant, you don't want someone just to come barging into your property to show it to someone you've never met before, especially if it happens again and again and again. So we recommend ensuring that you have a strong tenant cooperation in place to do that. That's why you want a strong relationship in place. But it's not a bad idea to offer the tenant some type of an incentive to help you show the property. Because if you don't have your tenant on your side in this transaction, it could really hurt you in a potential sale. If a prospective buyer goes into the property and the tenant starts bad-mouthing the property or saying how things aren't fixed or they don't like you or they don't like this, that's going to scare away that buyer. So you want the tenant on your side. So it's not a bad idea to incentivize the tenant. Maybe you give them a few bucks per month as a rent credit until the property shows. If they are agreeable to show the property and to allow the property to be shown on a regular basis, which takes us to guidance number 4. Make sure your lease allows for showings. A good solid lease agreement is going to state something to the effect that you as the landlord have the right to bring people in to show the property with a reasonable notice period. If you have these things in place, it's going to be much easier to sell. Now, should you decide to sell, it's a great time to do that. There's a lot of great buyers out there looking for these properties that are tenant occupied. If you've got questions, give our office a call. We'd be happy to walk you through this process, have you talk to some agents who are fabulous at helping buyers buy and sellers sell, because it's a great time to own real estate in Colorado.